Alright everyone, this is going to be a pretty long video and I just want to give a quick trigger warning. There is going to be some graphic talk in this video about verbal abuse, emotional abuse. There will be some slurs involved. This is going to be my truth, my life story, just a little tiny portion of it. My truth. Here's what I've abused. I've abused tobacco, nicotine, cannabis, my father's pills, or weird brain pills were involved in that. Benadryl was a really big thing. Cough syrup, Adderall, magic mushrooms or psilocybin, caffeine, and pornography. Okay, so my truth. I was born on February 26, 2005, at 9:53 a.m. I remember being in a crib with my older brother, who is now 40 years old, and my older sister, who is now 34, were sharing a bunk bed in the same room. When I was 5 years old, I was put into a Spanish immersion elementary school. I learned and spoke Spanish in school from elementary to junior year of high school. I did graduate high school, however, I spent my senior year in drug rehabilitation for a cannabis induced psychosis break I experienced at the age of 17 years old. Growing up from ages 5 to about 7 years old, my father was chained to the brutal, heavy addiction known as alcoholism. My father would often be verbally abusive and emotionally abusive towards my mother. He would express to me that he was going to divorce my mother and pack his belongings to stay at Dorothy Day, which is a homeless shelter in downtown St. Paul, Minnesota. He often sexually abused her as well. I'm considering this as I've personally heard a lot of "stop it" or "go to bed." I said no. That was heard a lot growing up here at home. My older siblings moved out when I was about 3 or 4 years old. However, my sister returned home around when I was 12 or 13 temporarily. My mother always was a very straight, on the edge type of person. She's a fast paced worker. She's always held at least 2 jobs in my life. She was always into Christianity, going to church, and gossiping. My mother always told me the reason for my father's lack of love and care towards me is due to the fact that he lost his father, my original grandfather, because my grandmother, my dad's mother, ended up getting remarried. And so my second grandfather just died a few years ago, actually. But my father lost his father at the ripe age of 9 years old. My mother lost her father at the same age. My father's dad died from cardiac arrest. My mother's dad died from emphysema, lung cancer. I'd listen a lot to all of my surroundings while growing up. I was diagnosed at 8 years old with mild autism. I listened to my sister joke with my father about how I could never do anything for myself. My mother helped me often growing up by cooking meals or doing laundry or taking me to work with her some nights. She did the best she ever could for me, in her opinion. My mother never learned how to drive. She didn't receive a driver's permit, a driver's license, or vehicle. She spanked me if I misbehaved from her point of view, or my father's. My father is a retired firefighter with angst in his heart, due to his own severity experienced in his own childhood. My mother, I believe, has severe mental illness, as well as my father. However, they don't believe in the concept of mental illness, let alone spiritual disease for that matter. My father referred to my mother as ugly, bitch, nigger, as her skin is darker than his is. The word niggerish has been used by him a plethora of times as well to refer to African American people. My father is also African American, however, he's just a lighter skinned man. My parents conceived me in their 40s. They both were born in the early 1960s. Now, I have an astrological synastry that I don't know exactly my father's time of birth. I call him my father, sperm donor. I don't know his time of birth. Um, my mother, I don't really know. I think she gave me her time before, but I forgot. But I think I have it accurately. I know my time and signs. As for my sister and brother, I'm assuming as well. Synastry. Father, Sun in Aries, Moon in Gemini, rising in Leo. Mother, Sun in Sagittarius, Moon in Gemini, rising in Virgo. Me, Sun in Pisces, Moon in Libra, rising in Taurus. My sister, Sun in Virgo, Moon in Capricorn, rising in Leo. My brother, Sun in Virgo, Moon in Leo, rising in Leo. What more can I say that I haven't written down? This video can get really, really dark, actually, because these last few years, since I've been abusing Benadryl, abusing cough syrup, smoking a lot of cannabis, drinking a lot of liquor, smoking a shit ton of cigarettes, we only have one bathroom in the house. There's only one floor, and then there's the basement, and the basement doesn't have a bathroom. Whenever I need to use the restroom in the mornings, if I wake up later than my father, this has been going on for several years, I get screamed at. And that leads me to, unfortunately, doing things that I never I didn't think I'd talk about on camera, but if you can put two and two together. Last year I transitioned into a man, and I think not only was it because I was in a toxic relationship with someone that identified as female but had a penis and testicles, it was because of all the trauma in my childhood that was unresolved, that is unresolved. I know for a fact my sister was slut shamed by my father growing up. I know for a fact that my brother and my sister would hide in the closet because they were scared of my father being drunk growing up. I know for a fact that my parents met in high school. My mother was my father's paper girl. Became obsessed with him, it seems. Life is really crazy. I know it isn't just me out here that's struggling with familiar abuse. My parents want to make me homeless because I've been without a job since December of 2024, and now it's almost October 2025. I don't know this one for a fact, but I'm assuming that my autism has gotten worse. My freshman year and sophomore year of high school were interrupted because of COVID-19. I spent my days smoking cartridges, vaping, listening to my parents argue. I've always felt like a loner in this world. And I'm not trying to sit here and make the video, oh, woe is me, but when you're using the bathroom outside because your own father yells at you because you have to go and he's in there multiple times, multiple different years, this has happened. Everything has to be the way he wants it in the house because he's the king of the house. These are my mother's words. I don't know if I can ever truly be with a man and be happy in a romantic relationship. I've had sex with a lot of different men, and I've had relationships with men. And last year I was in a relationship with a man who was on estrogen for 7 months. I have to do a lot of remothering and refathering, reprogramming my brain to want to get up in the morning and be successful. The glare is starting to bother me. If you've watched to the end of this video, thank you for watching. I truly appreciate you, and we'll see you in the next one.